kept little Ignacio in food and clothing and drugs and lodging and whores way back in another time, another life, another dream. While the girls are wearing the same tastefully frilly short skirts and cheap high heel shoes, same old poorly tailored, gaudy, colored low-cut blouses, the uniform, like they all just popped out of the same fucking cookie-cutter hooker mold. Restless ghetto girls out on the prowl for that fabled magic gringo short-time carnival dollar dispenser. Or maybe even a whole week shacked up in some fancy beachfront hotel with trips to the shopping mall and a nice bonus at the end of the programa if they get lucky. Same old whores, same old gringos, same old hustle, same old shit. I should have been a shakedown cop. Just keep an eye on the men's room. Look for the gringo coming out of there, rubbing his nose with that little just did a bump look on his guilty little pink gringo mug. Easy pickings down here as always. Some things never change. So, you get the drift here. Anyway, so, you know, it goes on, and, you know, now he's out there hustling and rolling gringos and buying her drugs with the money, and, you know, the relationship continues its merry way. And then here's another chapter a little further down. Suddenly 3 months had gone by in a surreal haze of passion and drama, and days and nights of danger and progressive mental illness. Sometimes between her soul-shattering, grueling, week-long crack runs, I'd still try to take Narcissa to the movies or for a walk on the beach at night, a quiet little agua de coco under a palm tree by gentle waves under vital summer moonlight. But things were really getting worse, and she wanted to do that sort of thing less and less anymore. I was getting worse too, running back and forth in a world of petty crime and constant self-doubt. More and more now, I was sucked down into a dark vortex of trouble in my frantic effort to keep her voracious crack habits sated. And still I carefully, lovingly tended to her like a flickering, dying flame, one day at a time. Still just trying to pretend for the moment that everything was fine, that everything was going to be all right somehow. We both knew it wouldn't be all right. But when that's all that's left is the power to pretend, you just take what you can get and do the best you can with it. Her malady was progressing steadily, stealthily, as was my own, my addiction to her and everything that went with it. Soon my life with Narcissa was reduced to 4-hour shifts of worried solitude and prayer, broken up by 2 or 3 hour periods we'd finally spend together again, mostly fucking like angry baboons, or fighting, as if anything we fought about even mattered anymore. This goes on. I'm just going to skip forward, give you a little background there. We were caught in a trap, like two wild animals locked together in mortal hand-to-hand combat. When the trap catches one, it catches both. The trap was love, and it was going to be a hard one to escape. I think that was really my biggest crime against Narcissa, the love, because I loved her so completely and unconditionally now, that no matter how hard the crack monster ever tried to drive me away or turn me against her for good, I'd always just forgive her and take her right back in again the minute she came slithering home. I'd become like one of those life-size inflatable punch-me dolls that springs right back up after being knocked over again and again, and now my whole life was a raging battlefield. It was like being in the army or something, always being rudely awakened at odd random hours, dragged out of a sound sleep and made to march for agonizing miles over desolate, rugged terrain, with burning blisters of furious tyrant barking orders into trembling eardrums, random orders, cruel and senseless angry insults, capricious whims and demands. Cigano, go get me the Coca-Cola with lots of ice. Go, go. Cigano, where's my hairbrush, eh? Cigano, get the fuck out of my way. I want to watch a television novella. Move, stupid. Go, go, go. Cigano, you gotta give me more money. You so Jewish, cheap, fucking old gypsy shit. I gotta go back out on the pista and get a rich gringo who got more younger than you. And then he gonna take good care to me and you're never gonna see me again. Ha! Last chance, you stupid. Got it? When it all got to be too much for me, the endless barrage of senseless harassment and verbal abuse, feeling all of my instincts under attack at once and finally at a loss for words, reduced now to a purely animal level of existence, I just glare at her and growl like a pissed off Doberman. But I'd never hit her really hard like that before. Yeah, he smacked her around a little in the previous chapter. Trying to manage the unmanageable. But now I'd even crossed that line, another line crossed, and once again she was out the door, running the streets again in a dangerous, self-destructive rage. As I paced the floor of my little flat, I began to think I had basically two choices. I made mental calculations. One choice would be just beat her to death with my bare hands the next time she came back and be done with it once and for all. But that would entail having to dispose of her body. Could I? Of course I could never actually bring myself to straight up murder Narcissa, even knowing I'd be doing her a huge favor by putting her out of her everlasting misery. Could I? I fantasized about how that task might be accomplished. Cut her up in the bathtub, flush the meat and entrails down the toilet in turns until there was nothing left but bones. Yeah, that would be about the most efficient method, I figured. Thinking about it all, of course, only in anticipation of an eventual overdose, a likely scenario, I told myself. What about the bones? I hadn't figured that part out yet. Maybe grind them up into sawdust somehow, then just scatter them all around town. The host roll, the favelas, the cop spots, Lapa, Copacabana. Hey, I could just drop the bone dust into the fucking gas tank of the bike, then blow her smoky, accursed ashes out the exhaust pipe in one fucking ride all over Rio. Up in smoke. Yeah, Narcissa would just fucking love some shit like that. But the more I thought about it, the more it all seemed like a lot of fucking work. But what about her cunt? I could never bring myself to flush that thing down the toilet. No way. Wait, maybe I could make it into a wallet or something. Yeah, a nice little sentimental Narcissa wallet. Yeah, I could stitch a zipper in there and use it to hold all the fucking money I'd be saving, not having the fucking crack monster to support anymore. But as I played it out in my head, I quickly realized that it was just all too much work. Killing Narcissa was out. So this is like way further down the road in this book, and he's finally, after much violence and heartache and misery and this unstoppable hell fest of a relationship, he's finally left town in a futile but a determined attempt to sort of get away from the love of his life. And now he's like up the coast a few hundred miles away, like in some sleazy port town in self-enforced solitude. And here he's reminiscing about his times in this place. Traveling like a lonesome ghost in the gray fog of another night's cold shadows, walking the rain-slick streets of another tired industrial port town. Little Ignacio, so close to Rio, but a million miles away here in this sleazy sexual exile from my bombed-out, devastated, ravaged little world back home. Seeking comfort and relief where there can be no relief, wandering the sleepy ruins of another deserted downtown somewhere, nowhere, trudging through the shadows of another rusty port, where the ships lay rotting at anchor like dark, unfathomable shapes emerging from my own haunted, desolate memory zone. Looking up at these crumbling, weather-damaged buildings full of sleeping people, I walk hand in hand with these little port town whores, walking to little red-lit rooms, wondering why do they all have red lights inside the rooms? Just to remind you it's a whorehouse? Just in case you forgot, maybe, is the girl